2 Corinthians 5:18 says, "And all things are of God." In this we see that all the grace that is implanted in regeneration comes from him. Nothing is of the creature, or to be ascribed to the creature. All things in redemption are of him. The Father drew the plan of it. He called his Son to be the Redeemer, and he appointed and sent him as such. And particularly that branch of it, reconciliation, is of him, who hath reconciled us to himself by Jesus Christ. Reconciliation being the work of God, through Christ, by which he, the Father, restores mankind to a favorable relationship with himself. The work of reconciliation, or making atonement for sin, which is to make amends for it, is ascribed to the Father. Not that he is the author of it, for it is properly Christ's work, but because he took the first step towards it. He formed the scheme of it. He set forth his Son in his purposes and decrees to be the propitiatory sacrifice, which appeases his anger towards sinners and satisfies his justice. He assigned him this work in counsel and covenant, in promise and in prophecy, and sent him to effect it, which means to bring it about, to make it happen, to accomplish it. Therefore he is said to do it by him, by Christ, that is, by his blood and sacrifice, by his sufferings and death, to which alone the Scriptures ascribe our peace and reconciliation. And this reconciliation is made to himself, the Father, as being the party offended, whose law was broken, against whom sin was committed, and whose justice required and demanded satisfaction. And he hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation, which is the gospel of peace, the word which preaches, publishes, and declares peace made by the blood of Christ, which ministry is a gift to ministers and a blessing to the people. The free grace of God greatly appears in this matter. God the Father sets this work of reconciliation on foot. Christ has brought it about, and the ministers of the gospel publish it. You are to believe to be true that Christ actually reconciled you. This reconciliation by Christ's death has brought acceptance from God and eternal life to everyone who believes. We are believing that we now have everlasting life because of what Jesus did for us on the cross. To believe it is to receive it. Whoever believes it has it, for it is through the avenue of belief that the free gift of eternal life is conveyed over into the possession of the believing soul. You are to believe that it was for your sake that God sent his Son into the world, that he loved you, and he sent his Son to save you, and that Jesus actually did it by means of his death, burial, and resurrection. That is what saved us. That's how he did it. It was by that very means. And God has freely instilled in us as a gift a special endowment of faith that has enabled us to embrace our own salvation by Christ as an already accomplished fact, thereby causing us to know that we really have been saved by him. God creates this faith in us, which allows us to inwardly perceive ourselves as being loved by God and reconciled to him by the death of his Son, and to know that Jesus loved me and gave up his life for me, just so the two of us could be together.